What's up and welcome back to the YaBoiWilly YouTube channel. Today we are going to be going into a deep dive of the heavy Voidblade Ice Gauntlet build. There's a lot of Voidblade builds out there, specifically medium, but one build that I have perfected over the last month or so is the heavy Voidblade build. And today I'm going to show you guys what that build is all about. Here is the heavy Voidblade Ice Gauntlet guide. What's up, guys? First off, I want to preface this by saying I by no means am some kind of like absolute elite gamer who this is like the perfect build to operate with. You know what I mean? Like, this is just what works for me. And a lot of people ask me on stream all the time, you know, what's my build? They like it. They think it looks cool. And yeah, we're going to be going through it. I hope you guys enjoy it. Now, let's talk about heavy Voidblade Ice Gauntlet in general. So I've been running the Void Gauntlet build for a long time, VG, IG. Typically, it's more used in a supportive style, especially when it comes to like wars and OPRs. But the difference with the Voidblade is you have more offensive capabilities. First off, I want to say this build is designed for war / OPR settings. It's really designed to stay alive in a clump while still putting out a lot of damage. So I've kind of optimized the build in a way that you're doing a lot of damage, but at the same time, you have a high amount of survivability. Like I said in the beginning, you see a lot of Voidblade players running like Orb right now, and they're going medium. That is a totally viable build as well, but that's not what this build is. This build is more based off of that survivability while still having enough damage output to hold it down. Now, I want to point out that yes, this build is designed for like more war and OPR, but don't get it twisted. I played like 800 arenas during my 31-day subathon, and I ended up getting #1 on wins, and I had about a 3.1 win-loss ratio with this build. So it's not like I just had a lot of games, so I naturally was like #1 with wins. With that win-loss ratio, it does show that there is some merit to this build in every situation, and a lot of people have been asking me to show it, so let's talk about some strengths and some weaknesses to the build. Now, as you can imagine, with you being heavy and Voidblade, it kind of puts you in a situation where you're very much close range, right? Your biggest strength is going to be fighting in that clump and hitting multiple targets at the same time. That's going to be when you really kind of start flexing your muscles and start feeling like this build is insane. This build has extremely high 1v2, 1v3 kind of capabilities. And honestly, if you're fighting some bad players, you can 1v5, 1v6. I got a clip of it. It is a very real like that. It's very drain tanky. It almost feels like, you know, so much lifesteal. You're so tanky while having so much lifesteal, but being able to put out that damage is awesome. I will say though, as you can imagine, when you're operating this build, yes, you're good close, but that means that your counters are range. Right, and specifically Fire Staff. Fire Staff especially kind of destroys this build a little bit. It is unfortunate. If you run into Fire Staffs, it just feels tough, especially if they're light. It does feel tough. I would say Blunderbuss as well is pretty good. It's at that like medium range, but also Blunderbuss and Fire Staff is busted right now anyway, so like whatever. One other thing about this build is it is susceptible to spears and thrust damage. We are going to be going over the kind of like my perks that I have, my gems, all that stuff here in just a second, but that is kind of the weaknesses, right? The range is going to be where you notice it the most. Very good spear players, some great sword players, but really this build is pretty optimal for a lot of situations, and even if you do fight these players, you absolutely can still beat them. It's just like, you know, your strengths and weaknesses. If you perfect this build, you can beat anybody, just like most builds, but it does have the capability to do that. So with that being said, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about my gear, my perks, my armor, my gems, all the good stuff. Willy is not the most professional. I'm sure that the people who make guide videos probably have like nice, cute little, you know, spreadsheets that are going to be perfect. We're just going to do it the old-fashioned way. I'm going to show you guys the sauce. So my first piece is going to be Hoplite Helm. You get this from the Gorgon raid. Now, this is still all in the works, right? This is a fresh character, so this is not done by any means. So I'm going to go through a quick run through of my armor real fast and tell you. So I have the Hoplite Helm, a little enchanted, a little slash con, health. I will say the health is kind of like whatever to this build. The 3 perks that you're looking for the most when it comes to like most PvP builds in general is Slash Conditioning, Enchanted Ward, and Ellie Aversion. Those are going to be the big perks that you love. Health is kind of like that mid-tier, like it's okay to have, but you're not dying for it. My chest is the Frigid Dawn piece. This has the Freedom, Ellie Aversion, and Enchanted. Again, you want to have at least 2 out of 4 Freedom. 2 out of 4 Freedom is so crucial. It gets you out of most stuns quickly enough to where you can have some reacting time. And again, this is a war build, guys. I can't preface this enough. It works in plenty of situations, but I just want to point that out. This is not optimized for like arena specifically. It is optimized for war. Then you want to get to your first artifact. We have Magnetic Gauntlets. These things are farmed over there in Tempest Mutated. Very, very good. Mag Gauntlets, it's so good. Crit chance is increased by 50%. Now you might be saying, but the crit chance is reduced by 30. But the thing with the build, and I'll show it in the perks later, is the more you crit, the more lifesteal that you get. So the more you're critting, the more lifesteal, and it creates that drain tank situation where it feels like you just never die. This is a big key component of that. So also, I like to put, whenever I upgrade them, I like to put Nullifying Oblivion on my Mag Gauntlets. The reason being is you don't put Nullifying Oblivion on your Void Gauntlet because you preferably have Putrefying Scream. So you want to always have Nullifying Oblivion on your gear at some point. And the way I look at it is if I'm running Mag Gauntlets, I'm running Nullifying Oblivion. So yeah, so that is what I have there. My legs is going to be another Frigid Dawn piece. I ended up putting some Slash Con, Enchanted, Ellie Aversion. Again, those top 3 perks, that's what you're looking for. Those things are always good, always clean. And then down here, another Frigid Dawn. If you guys don't know, Frigid Dawn is from Glacial Tarn. And yeah, you just gotta farm these things. It's so worth it. You can upgrade them and just put, and I know they may not be 725, but don't let that dissuade you from getting these pieces. They're so worth it. I mean, it's gonna be good regardless. It's worth the upgrade. And obviously you got the Enchanted in them. Now you're gonna notice I have 5 opals slotted in my armor and 3 slotted in my jewelry. To be honest with you, I don't like, you can mess with this either way. You can have like 1 or 2 more onyxes. You could keep it this way. In fact, honestly, you could even take out an opal and put in like 1 ruby if you're running into a lot of fire staff, maybe a lot of blunderbuss. Those are options, but I like to just do a clean 5-3 split. I know that with hatchet being as big as it is for a while, more onyx is probably viable. You can do whatever, but that's just what I like to run. I feel like the base elemental damage absorption is just so much, and especially when you're talking about all the Ellie damage in the game. But that's what I run on my armor. I will say I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the jewelry here. Ankh is for wars. Let me specify. Ankh, you get this through PvP track. This is for wars specifically. I do not wear the Ankh if I'm not in wars. Now, when I upgrade the Ankh, you always want to get on this slash protection. Slash protection, so good. The other thing that you could get on it is like stamina recovery, but I think that's a crutch. I don't think you really need that. I think the base mitigation is just going to be more beneficial at the end of the day. I do have the Champions ring, a little hardy is always what you're looking for in a ring. Like hardy is so good, and then the keen and invigorating does a good chunk of it, helps with the damage, right? I may be heavy, but I'm running Voidblade, and this is a lot of damage. Now, I will say this piece could be replaced by the Elemental Band. I'll put a little picture up here on what the Elemental Band is and what it does, but I am looking for that. I haven't got that piece yet. My earring is pretty BIS. It's not 700, it's not 725, but I mean, this is BIS. Fortifying Toast, Refreshing Toast, Regeneration. I mean, dude, it's really good. Now, one thing I'm going to unslot is my necklace over here. I want to show you guys this necklace here because the necklace that I have instead of the Ankh is it has slash protection, health, and it has fortify. Again, this is just what I'm running if I'm in arenas. Unironically, like Fortify is not the best here, but like it has pretty decent synergy with Fortifying Toast. So, I mean, there's some synergy there. So jewelry, there's always a lot to mess with. The big things that you're looking for in jewelry is hardy on your ring, necklace. I really love running like Fortifying Toast, Regeneration, Refreshing Toast. I mean, all 3 of these are just so good for your earring. And then amulet. always got to have slash protection. Slash protection I feel like is so good for your amulets. So this is my armor, and then obviously I run onyx in all of these. So little base rundown of my armor and my jewelry. But let's talk about the weapons next. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the weapons. So I do have Hades Fury. Hades Fury is farmed. In fact, I'll just show you really fast. Right over here in Elijah Woods, Elysian Wilds. During the nighttime, it is spawned right here by a boss in this building at the top, and then during the daytime it's actually spawned on like the second level in this tower over here. So this is where you get Hades Fury. But Hades Fury, it's really good. It comes with Keen and it comes with Putrefying Scream. And guys, look at what this does. Petrifying Scream inflicts disease on hit, reducing the target's incoming healing by 43% and outgoing healing by 21% for 8 seconds. That's massive. And then whenever I upgrade Hades Fury, this critical strikes against targets inflict disease for 6 seconds, reducing the healing effectiveness on targets. So I add plague crits to the Hades Fury because when you add these two together, that is so much negative life stealing that like there's like, dude, people can heal. It does so much and it's just so beneficial. And again, this is like a war setting, right? Hit somebody in a war with like a 3 or 4 man scream in a war with this. I mean, dude, the healing is going to be massive. It's going to be noticeable. So that's awesome. Also, I forgot to explain why Nullifying Oblivion is so integral to the build. I'm going to tell you guys now. It removes limited duration buffs from enemies. So whenever a hatchet guy goes and he gets berserk, boom, Obliv, instantly it's gone. If they go undying, boom, Obliv, it's gone. So that's why it's so important. Either way though, back to my Hades. This is just, it's easy to farm. It took me like 2 hours to farm there. Pretty self-explanatory. Now, the next one that I like is Deep Freeze. Deep Freeze is just so dang good. You get this from Glacial Tarn as well. Comes with Vicious, refreshing move, of course, just such a good, just such a good perk in general. You just can't go wrong with that. Does have the chilling end effect. Frozen, rooted, or chilled enemies take 15% additional damage on both weapons, guys, on both weapons. This is huge for your damage output. This is massive. You're talking about rooted with the scream's root. You're talking about frozen when you drop chilled. I mean, dude, your ice wall, your ice storm, all of this stuff, dude, you're getting 15% additional damage. It works on both weapons. Now, I do add Deadly Frost because while Frigid Showers upgrades is active, Ice Showers Frostbite deals 8% weapon damage per second to afflicted enemies, and it reduces the shower's cooldown by 15%. So you get more ice showers and you're just doing damage over time. It's great. Deadly Frost is good. You can go Unending Thaw, but I think that's more pad. I think Deadly Frost is definitely going to be more on par. Also, I do run an Onyx in my Ice Gauntlet. Damage against target above 18% damage against targets above 70% health. Pretty fair. I mean, you're not really on your Ice Gauntlet a lot, so when you throw out your abilities and stuff, just get that extra damage. Also, I forgot to mention, on my Hades Fury, I like to run Opal. Guys, I know, not a lot of people think Opal is good, but hear me out. Opal, 12% damage while your stamina is not full. Guys, that's massive. 12% damage? Dude, the reason why I think this works so well with Voidblade is because obviously when you are auto attacking, you dodge auto, and then when you're in this Oblivion, not only is your stamina regened a lot, but look at how fast you can get your full auto combo in. You can consistently be, if you play your stam right, you can keep 12% damage buff up this whole time, also while chasing people as well. It's very important. I think the Opal is what kind of operates and kind of, I guess I feel like it gives me more damage and incentive of being able to kill people, right? Like obviously, right? But when you're running heavy, just by running heavy, you're losing 15% base damage. That sucks. But if you cancel this out with the Opal, you're not losing any 12% damage while your stamina is not full. If you're able to keep this teeter that line of having your stamina out, you're doing a lot of damage. You're almost negating the fact that you're even heavy in the first place. I'm just saying, dude. But I like the opal. Also, when it comes to the heart rune, I do run rending vines and enfeebling. Brutal. It's just so good, man. I mean, rending, inflicts a rend, reducing the target's armor by 20%. It's just so good. And then enfeebling, weaken on hit, reduces the target's damage by 20%. I mean, and again, when you're talking about groups of people, it's just pure insanity. It works so well. I love it. I love it. It's just perfect. It's just perfect. So this is going to kind of be my base of like what I run when it comes to my armor, my gems, and my weapons. When it comes to consumables, obviously you want to rock your health pots. You want to rock serums if you can. You can do gemstone, fuse pots, whatever you're feeling. Hearty meals, energizing meals, pretty basic stuff over here. So that's going to be the armor and the weapons, but let's go ahead and talk about the actual, like, the perks and all of the goodies, the perks, the attributes, what I'm running stat wise. Alrighty guys, so first thing we're gonna get into is the attributes. So as you can see here, we run 200 int, 50 focus, and then the rest in con. 327 con, I add con food as well. You end up getting to like 380 con. Oh, sorry, bro. I don't want to duel. Sorry, dude. But yeah, you end up, I mean, you're really up there. Now, that is going to be where the survivability comes in. A lot of people are shocked by the amount of damage that I'm able to pull out while having this amount of con. I mean, genuinely, in most arenas, people are like, oh my God, when they find out how tanky I am and how much con I run, they're like, bro, what? But I mean, seriously, it's so good. And also, one thing that you like about this is you gain grit when charging and performing heavy attacks. One huge thing, and I cannot stress enough about running heavy Voidblade, is your distance and gap closing that you get from heavy lunging. From heavy attacking, you have your Void lunge, and you get so much gap close. It's so good for the build because being heavy, you're already slow in general. And on top of that, by heavy attacking with your Voidblade, now you have grit. So if you time your heavy attacks right, you can avoid CC. And it's something that you obviously start doing over time, right? You get used to it, but it can become a complete game changer in situations. If you're in a clump, think about it. If you're in a clump, heavy attack, heavy attack. If you get grabbed, 2 heavy attacks can be enough that get you out of that grab, and you have grit, so you're not getting CC'd while doing it. So something to think about. I love it. And obviously you want to have like the plus 10% mana gain on crit. You know, I mean, there's so much things. This is just your perfect operating build for me. It works great. When we're talking about weapon mastery, I know this is going to sound crazy. I dump everything into the Void Gauntlet. Obviously you're running Voidblade, Oblivion, and Scream. Everything into the Voidblade tree. Now, I want to point out one thing earlier that I was talking about the Mag Gauntlets. On crit, heal equal to 15% of damage done. This is what I'm talking about, guys. That's why Mag Gauntlets is so strong with this build. Every time you crit, you heal for 15% of that damage. So if Mag Gauntlets, you may not be doing as much damage, but if Mag Gauntlets is making you crit more, you're unstoppable. You can just keep healing, and it's so strong. Now, one thing in this build that you can get rid of is this. If you don't feel like you need Harvest Essence, so Harvest Essence is whenever you right click and you drain some of your health for some mana. Personally, I think it can come in clutch. That's why I keep this here. I do Harvest Essence a good chunk. I'm not gonna lie. I think you can, whenever you're rotating your abilities, you can get in a quick Harvest Essence and it feels good, because if I'm not mistaken, you can do like this, and all this. Look, I'm down to 20% mana. Right, like, or 20, but whenever I do my Ice Gauntlet abilities, here in a second, we'll rip it again. When I do my Ice Gauntlet abilities, you guys will see that if you have your mana back at around 50%, if I'm not mistaken. So as these come up here, it makes it to where you, like, again, you can add it in your rotation. So look, I'll Ice Storm, Ice Wall, and then Harvest real fast, and then you see that quick Harvest? Look at that, 50. We're at 50 mana. I added a quick Harvest in that rotation. I know it was kind of quick there, but doing that is not bad. And especially it makes it to where you can keep your rotations up, because if you're hitting people, you're getting your abilities back on cooldown. So having that 50% mana instead of 20% mana can be beneficial, and it can save you. So I'm a big fan of keeping that. Now, if you don't think you need the Harvest Essence, a lot of people go over here for this 10% base damage on successful ranged basic attacks. Again, with an active debuff, you can do that, but in my opinion, I prioritize having my abilities up, because having your abilities and being able to spam your abilities on repeat with the VGIG is what makes this build so damn strong. I love it. Now, when you go over to the Ice Gauntlet, I know initially it looks a little weird because you don't specialize in like any of these final ones, but really Ice Gauntlet, you're just really setting up for your Voidblade. That's all you're really doing. You're just kind of setting it up. You're trying to get in, you're trying to put good combos out to kind of set your Voidblade up, right? So a good combination here would be, you know, let's say you want to start out, let's say you start the fight, you do Ice Storm, Ice Wall, I do a little Harvest, heavy auto, Scream, Oblivion, and then you just start beating the hell out of them. I like to, again, add in a lot of dashes while the Oblivion's up, so I can keep my Opal damage up the whole time. And yeah, I mean, it's a good way to optimize your damage. Or you can start out with a full VG combo and then go into Ice. So if you want to do this, this is very viable as well. So I don't have my Voidblade equipped yet. So you can start out like this. First off, you always want to start out with your Scream. You want to start Scream. So I'm going to Scream, Oblivion, Voidblade. And then here's what the goal is. You're going to Scream, Oblivion, Voidblade, dodge, start hitting. You're going to wait until you hit them enough to where your Voidblade active is back. As soon as that happens, if you want to optimize damage, you quick swap, Ice Storm, Ice Shower, boom, back to your Voidblade, and your full combo's up, and you're beating their ass, and everything's back up, and you keep that rotation, and you can just, it's so much damage. It's so much damage, so much debuffing, and it's really the rotation is how you're able to really pull off those 1v3s, right? But yes, your rotation is key. It's very key. So just one last look at the Ice Gauntlet tree. You can probably swap some of this stuff out. This isn't like absolute, you need this, but really, again, it's a lot of setup with your Ice Gauntlet. Your Ice Gauntlet, I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but it obviously does, you know, but really it's about the way you rotate your abilities. The way you rotate your abilities is very important to this build, because the goal is to consistently have your abilities up. And obviously, if you're running the Voidblade, every time you attack somebody and get a hit on somebody, your abilities refresh. So you can just sit there and boom, boom, and just auto. And this is what makes this build so insane in a clump, is because the more you can hit multiple people at once with the Voidblade, and it just keeps your abilities going. Yeah, it resets it quicker. So it's just so much fun to use, man. It's so much fun to use. But yeah, those are going to be the skill. That's going to be my attribute split, kind of what I run for the skills and the weapon trees, and a little bit about the rotation. But guys, don't just take my word for it. I'm gonna go ahead and play some clips, and I'm gonna talk over them and kind of show you some tips and tricks that I like to do to kind of make the build run better. Again, even though you're heavy, there's still high mobility that you can operate with this build, and timing is key with the abilities. But hopefully that this helps so far. We're gonna go ahead and get to the next section where I'm gonna go over some stuff for you guys and just kind of give you that little extra sauce to this guide, to this build. All right, guys, so we're gonna go ahead and jump into this arena that I did earlier. I have it slowed down so you guys can kind of see the rotation and kind of, you know, my thought process in general whenever I do this. The reason why I love this build in general is because I may be heavy, but I do enough damage to kill people by myself, and that's so important. So I'm gonna kind of talk through my thought process here. So initially I see that these two guys in the back, I can just jump on them. I'm like, you know what, who needs to stay on that guy? I'm gonna go kill these dudes. So I jump in, I'm gonna open up with an Ice Storm into an Ice Shower, again trying to proc that Deadly Frost. He pushes out, it's okay. I switch right to my Voidblade, right into a heavy attack so I can't be stunned, into his Scream, another heavy because I see that he's stuck on the ice. I drop the Oblivion and I just completely destroy this guy. Another heavy, and then I hit the Vines. I think that missed, but it doesn't matter. I still destroy this guy. He could have probably played that better, but the reality is I have the zone control. So this guy's necked up on my menu. I eat up a little bit and I'm ready to, right here, boom, perfect scream as he burns out. Oblivion, because I know he just hit that scream, so he's in my zone. I proc my passives. You see the healing coming in around me. So now I'm heavy autoing to try and keep up with him. And whenever I dash heavy auto, check it out. Right here, guys, you see how I dash heavy auto? Even though you are heavy, you can dash heavy auto and you get so much distance. I'm serious. Boom, right there. I mean, you really do get a lot of distance when you do that. And now I hit the scream. He's stuck. My rotation is just, and it's completely up. So I scream. I'm going to hit him a few times. I hit him with another heavy because I'm like, why not? I know he's still stunned. Into the ice shower, into the ice storm. This guy is completely toast. There's no way he's getting away from me at this point. So as you can see, I mean, it's just, it looks easier said than done in a way. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in like normal speed so you guys can see what it looks like whenever just, you know, you're normally going. But look at how fast that these rotations can be. Again, whenever you're rocking Voidblade Ice Gauntlet, it's all about your rotation. So immediately you just want to make sure that you're paying attention to your ability cooldown. Ability cooldown is so integral. And also notice how I'm constantly dodging to keep that 12% damage up from my opal. And I know it seems small, but it's a big part of what gives me so much damage. You will notice the damage increase if you have an opal in your Voidblade. You simply will, especially when you're heavy. You're gonna notice it. So yeah, you can just see the heavy autos with the dodges, consistently staying up with them. And it works so well because not only for tracking, but in general, you know, you get that 12% damage. So yeah, this was just a small case, obviously. I know that this build is more or less for like, you know, wars and OPR, but this works very much in arenas as well. And everything that you learn in like even that small clip can pretty much be integrated into any facet of PvP in this game. Well guys, that is going to conclude the video. I wanted to give you guys kind of a breakdown on my build. A lot of people have been coming into stream asking me about it. I've been operating this in wars, OPR, and arenas, and I've seen a lot of success from it. I might have missed stuff. I hope I didn't. If there's any questions you guys have, please ask down below. I'll answer it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit that like and hit that sub. It's time for me to get out of here. Peace, later, and love. I will see you guys on the next video.